It's been intense, yeah. It's very, very intense. A lot of thinking, a lot of writing back and forth with supervisors, yeah. So it's been intense. Yeah, I think it's well suited for people who have jobs and middle level managers. So I think it works very well. The intermediate period can be a little bit intense with work and assignments, but with the right balance, it works very well. I think the major highlights is just the learning. Yeah, but there's a lot that you unearth on a very intense program like this one. So it's been just learning, learning, and learning. So I think the beauty about this program is the unconventional way within which it's delivered, but also the unconventional content, the way to look at development differently, some new models about how to design development programs. I think it's been very, very instructive, especially for African countries and governments. So I'll be writing about advocacy strategies for civil society, especially engaging in contexts that are semi-dominant and neo-patrimonial in Africa. So broadly, it's civil society advocacy strategies in semi-authoritarian political systems and states. So I'm carrying out case studies of interventions that civil society organizations in Uganda engaged with. And I'm doing a comparative study of one that was successful and another that was failure, and drawing lessons and extrapolating that to say this is what civil society ought to do in contexts that are similar to Uganda's context. Absolutely, and I think that's one of the major steps towards the African integration. While African countries are not homogeneous in a sense, but there are a lot of similarities in terms of governance challenges, development challenges. And what this program really does is provide practical tools and create a network of actors across the continent that with peer learning and learning from each other would be fundamental towards that process of African integration. So it's both an emotive period, but also, I think, a reflective one. Nelson Mandela is by all measures an icon, both for Africa and for the world, and his leadership journey has a lot of lessons that we can pick from. And for us to associate with a school that is named after such an icon, I think is very fulfilling and a little bit gratifying. But for me, I think it also calls for deep reflection. If you look at the leadership challenges we have across the continent, it tells you the gap that exists in terms of the leadership. It tells you that our current leaders have probably not borrowed lessons from what Nelson Mandela stood for or his life and legacy. So I think it calls for reflection for us to start asking the question, what went wrong, what needs to be done, and what can we do to change the current discourse.